in association with Sensodyne Daily Sensitivity Protection. LIC हर पल आपके साथ.
ट्रेन में आग लग गया है.
What the national backlash over the government's Agnipath military recruitment scheme has looked like in at least 3 states of the country. Most prominently in Bihar, but also in Haryana and parts of Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. Young Indians have come out onto the streets, probably fueled by misinformation, but angry nevertheless about Agnipath. And so angry that they've been setting vehicles on fire, setting trains on fire, burning tires, vandalizing property, pelting stones. That is the kind of violence that young defense aspirants feel they have been forced to indulge in to express their anger and frustration over the Agnipath military recruitment scheme, which limits entries to 4 years in the military. It's a tour of duty scheme that has become one of the most contentious reforms, even though it has divided the military and veteran community almost equally. There are many who support it, many who criticize it. But on the streets, this today is what the backlash to Agnipath has looked like. And we don't stoke such fires here on India Today. We will be looking at whether misinformation has fueled these protests and whether there is a prescription where the government can smoothen and address the concerns of youths who want to get into the Indian Army, Air Force and the Indian Navy. What can calm their tensions? What can address their concerns? And what about the misinformation that is being spread by opposition leaders? All of that coming up here on 5 Live. I'm Shiv Aroor. These are the headlines. Congress launches violent, escalating protest marches across several cities against Rahul Gandhi's Enforcement Directorate grilling. Vehicle burnt in Hyderabad, ambulances stuck in Bengaluru. Rahul seeks time till Monday to appear for round 4 of questioning that was originally scheduled for tomorrow. Massive twist in the Rahul Herald grilling. Rahul puts the onus on late Congress treasurer Motilal Vora, says all Herald deals were handled by him. To the outside world, it looks like Motilal Vora has been thrown under the bus post his death. Big India Today impact, and it's our top story coming up at 5:30. National Commission for Women reacts to India Today's report, summons Maharashtra Director General Police over the arrest of actor Ketaki Chitale over a month ago. She's been in jail for over 30 days for a social media post attacking Sharad Pawar. Supreme Court refuses for now to put the brakes on bulldozers in Uttar Pradesh, asks the Yogi government to file its response on a Jamiyat plea alleging illegal demolitions and injustice within 3 days. This is in the wake of the huge protests last Friday. Sensational revelation in the Sidhu Moosewala murder investigation. Canada-based gangster Goldie Brar and Punjab drug lord helped gangster Lawrence Bishnoi to eliminate Sidhu Moosewala. Big India Today news break that everyone is following. The kind of anger and frustration that forces young Indians, defense aspirants, to indulge in vandalism, arson, burning vehicles, pelting stones at the police, images of this kind from at least 4 states in the country, is what the backlash to the Agnipath military recruitment scheme looked like today. Image after image, town after town, city after city, this is what it looked like. Most notably in Bihar, but also in UP, Haryana and Rajasthan, groups of youth, sometimes in large numbers, indulged in disturbing acts of violence, including the burning of several trains in different parts of these states. Take a look first at how the backlash to Agnipath looked just 2 days after the scheme was announced by the government. A big backlash over the government's Agnipath scheme for the military. Protesters hitting the streets in different parts of the country. Trains torched, tires burnt, stones pelted. Bihar was the worst hit by multiple violent clashes and arson. Dramatic scenes came in from parts of Bihar where armed forces aspirants set multiple trains on fire in Chhapra, Ara, Gopalganj and resorted to stone-pelting at railway stations. Multiple trains were seen in flames, railway property and police stations vandalized, rail services were crippled as protesters squatted on the railway tracks. Protesters even attacked police personnel and fought pitched battles with them.
तोड़फोड़ और इस तरह से सरकारी संपत्ति को क्षति अगर पहुंचाएंगे तो बाय नेम एफआईआर भी होगा। हमने कहा है कि वीडियोग्राफी भी कराएं और जो लोग इसमें उपद्रवी तत्व शामिल हैं उनके खिलाफ एफआईआर होगी, बाय नेम एफआईआर होगी। तो ऐसी स्थिति में तो फिर उनका भविष्य और दिक्कत में पड़ जाएगा।
यहाँ पे टू व्हीलर है, एक स्कूटी, एक मोटरसाइकिल। यहाँ जो प्लेटफॉर्म के बाहर लगी थी ये गाड़ियाँ, उनको बकायदा उठाकर लाया गया और फिर पटरी पर जो है उसको जला दिया गया। ऐसी तस्वीरें आपने बहुत कम ही देखी होंगी कि पूरा का पूरा जो ये स्टॉल है वो प्लेटफॉर्म से उठाकर पटरियों पर फेंक दिया जाए। तो इस तरीके की भीड़ थी यहाँ पर और जो प्रशासन था, रेलवे के जो लोग यहाँ मौजूद थे वो पूरी तरीके से असफल थे भीड़ पर काबू पाने में।
Violence and fires were also witnessed in Haryana's Palwal, where angry protesters targeted public property. Police vehicles were torched and slogans were raised against the Agnipath scheme. The fury of aspirants is partly fueled by a 2-year break in hiring by the armed forces as a result of the COVID pandemic. The youth preparing to join the army are saying they work hard and prepare for many years to join the military. They're asking, what will they do after a 4-year tenure? Their main concern is that they will not be able to perform well in the limited period of 4 years and that after this period, they will once again become unemployed without pension and other retirement benefits. Army aspirants say the scheme is an eyewash that offers little to create jobs and opportunities. Will the government be able to convince them on the utility of the tour of duty scheme? Or will there be a forced course correction of the Agnipath scheme? With Rohit Singh in Chhapra, Bihar, Bureau Report, India Today. And there are several opposition politicians who have, of course, attempted to stoke the fire, from Rahul Gandhi, who is still inside his house. He hasn't stepped out, to Jayant Chaudhary, who's announced a list of dharnas across the country in Uttar Pradesh against the Agnipath scheme, to a divided house within the Congress party over whether to support it or not. Opposition netas have seen Agnipath as another opportunity to stoke discontent and anger on the streets. The politics of Agnipath. Take a look.
Massive fire and fury over forces' new Agniveer scheme. Protesters launching pan-India violence stir. From multiple spots in Bihar to Haryana's Palwal and parts of Rajasthan, UP and Madhya Pradesh. Setting multiple trains on fire. Vandalizing police stations. Setting police vehicles on fire and attacking policemen, leaving them bleeding with grievous injuries. Army aspirants going on massive rampage. Amid the arson, clashes and fierce street fights, politics too raged. Opposition jumped in to target the Modi government. Rahul Gandhi questioned the short-term employment scheme, claiming no rank or pension for armed forces. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav called the scheme negligent and fatal for India's future. Aam Aadmi Party chief and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said youth should not get just 4 years to serve the forces.
मैं आग्रह करूंगा केंद्र सरकार से इस अग्निपथ योजना को वापस लें, क्योंकि सेना के साथ खिलवाड़ नहीं होना चाहिए और नौजवानों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ नहीं होना चाहिए। कोई कारगर योजना लेकर आए जो स्थायी रूप से लोगों को रोजगार मिले।
The government came out with a clarification, saying the new employment scheme will ensure secured future of service personnel through financial packages, bank loans, higher studies and priority entry into police and paramilitary forces.
मैं हरियाणा सरकार की ओर से ये विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि जो 75% ऐसे वीर सैनिक अगर वापस आने के पर सरकारी नौकरी चाहते होंगे तो उनको वरीयता दी जाएगी या अन्य काम करने के लिए भी उनके लिए वरीयता की योजनाएं बनाई जाएंगी।
Can the government clarification pacify armed forces aspirants angry and apprehensive over what they see as a raw deal? With Rohit Singh in Ara and Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
And it looks like the Congress is a divided house as far as Agnipath scheme is concerned, because just a few hours after Rahul Gandhi criticized the Agnipath scheme, Congress Member of Parliament Manish Tiwari has embarrassed his party by countering Rahul Gandhi in public. Manish Tiwari, Lok Sabha MP from Punjab, says the Agnipath reform is a military reform in the right direction. Manish Tiwari says the army needs to be modernized, going completely against the de facto Congress president. Manish Tiwari counters Rahul Gandhi in public on the Agnipath scheme. Take a look at what Manish Tiwari has just said.
This is a scheme which the government has announced. It should be allowed to play itself out. And if at all there are any glitches, those glitches can be ironed out. I think what the government needs to give clarity on is the transitioning process post 4.5 years. Because I can understand somebody coming out at the age of 21 or 22, he or she would obviously be apprehensive about their future. So a transitioning process which takes you out of the armed forces and into some form of regular employment, whether in the paramilitary forces or the state police forces, is something which the government must build into the scheme. And I think that to a large extent will be able to allay the apprehensions of people.
Now, as a result of this huge widespread protests in at least 3 or 4 states, the government has been forced to firefight. It has issued statements, it has issued information about trying to bust some of the myths that are being spread and that are being amplified by opposition leaders, but are also spreading on WhatsApp groups, perhaps fueling some of these protests. There may be some misapprehensions and misinterpretations as well. One of the biggest myths that has come in so far is that the future of Agniveers under the Agnipath scheme will not be secure. The government is countering this with facts, saying Agniveers will get priority recruitment in central armed police forces and state polices. So their future is far from insecure. The second big myth as part of the they will get a financial package and a bank loan scheme. They will be given Class 12 equivalent certificate. Avenues will be open in other sectors as well. So their future is definitely not insecure, is the myth that has been busted. The second myth, that the opportunities for youth will actually decrease as a result of this. The fact is, opportunities to serve in the armed forces will actually increase. The recruitment will be, in terms of numbers, triple the current recruitment because there is a regular turnover. The third big myth is that regimental bonding ethos, the whole paltan ki izzat will be affected as a result of this. There won't be any loyalty. The government says there is no change in the regimental system at all. The best of Agniveers will be selected to boost unit cohesiveness is what the government contends. The fourth big myth is effectiveness of the armed forces will be harmed because you have young persons in the military for only 4 years or a little longer than that. Fact, short-term enlistment system already exists in most countries without affecting the capabilities and potency of the armed forces. Agniveers in the first year will make up 3%, only 3% of the armed forces. Agniveer performance is to be tested after 4 years for reinduction. So about a quarter of them will be reinducted. The next big myth is that 21-year-olds are immature and unreliable for the army. Can you really rely on guys who are just into adulthood? Well, most armies across the world depend on youth. They do depend on youth. The Indian Army is also looking for a younger profile. The scheme will bring in a mix of 50-50 mix of youngsters and experienced ranks as a result of Agnipath. The next big myth is that Agniveers will be a danger to society, could join terrorist groups after they leave because, they've been trained in weaponry and things like that. So it will lead to a militarized society. The government contends the ethos and values of the Indian Armed Forces are very strong. You can't break that spirit so easily. Youngsters will remain committed to the country because Agnipath puts them through the military, which instills a sense of national love, Desh Prem, patriotism. Many retire from the forces with skills. No instances so far of any of these, ex-servicemen joining anti-national forces. There may always be bad apples, but definitely not something to be worried about. Next big myth, no consultation with ex-officers. There has been this view that this has been forced down on the military without any real, legwork, taking everyone on board, briefing ex-servicemen officers and groups. Armed Forces officers were consulted, in the consultative process. The proposal was framed by the Department of Military Affairs. Many ex-officers have recognized the scheme's advantages. There are many, let's face it, there are many who question the efficacy, the propriety and the long-term implications of Agnipath. But for every officer who questions it, there are some who say this is a radical reform that is in the right direction. There are certain caveats to each of these. But why are the protesters so angry? Why so much fury against Agnipath? Here's what some of the agitators said when India Today questioned them.
हमारी आखिरी वर्ष हम क्या करेंगे? हमारी जिंदगी के साथ खेला जा रहा है, ठीक है? कि जाना हमें, हम मर गए सब मर रहे। यहाँ बालक मरन लागतर से फौज में, और कोई नौकरी ना किसी चीज का फार्म भरा आज तक हमने, हम बस फौज में आ गए, हम कहाँ जाएंगे? हम
ऐसी कूलर पंखाने में सो के नौकरी 40 साल की कर रहे हैं, हम 4 साल की गोली खाने के लिए।
इनका मेन मकसद था कि आर्मी को ही प्राइवेटेशन कर दिया जाए, लेकिन इन्होंने आर्मी इसलिए प्राइवेटेशन नहीं की क्योंकि आर्मी रोड पे आ गई तो इनको लेने के देने पड़ जाएंगे, इसलिए ये इस कानून के तहत धीरे धीरे बिल्कुल ही आर्मी को प्राइवेटेशन कर देंगे।
4 साल की नौकरी है, 4 साल में 6 महीने ट्रेनिंग करेगा, 8 महीने उसके बाद कह रहे हैं 10-12 लाख रुपए मिलेगा 4 साल के बाद। 10-12 लाख रुपए आप भी जानते हो, 10-12 लाख रुपए का आ जाता है अलीगढ़ में पिलोट लोगों को भी नहीं मिलेगा, और मकान बना लो 10-12 लाख रुपए बन जाए मकान तो मैं तो अपनी गर्दन काट दूं।
4 साल की क्या सर्विस, क्या देश के लिए वो समर्पण हो पाएगा? नहीं। वो जज्बात आ पाएंगे? नहीं आ पाएगा। ये आर्मी को कमजोर करेगा, देश को गुलाम बनवा देंगे। ये हम चाहते हैं कि जो पुरानी आर्मी की जो रिक्रूटमेंट जो जिस तरह से होती थी वही होती रहे।
प्रस्ताव हमारे सामने रख दिया है टीओडी वाला, 4 साल वाला, इससे हमारा कुछ नहीं होगा। टीओडी बिल्कुल वापस ले लें अपनी, और हमारी पुरानी भर्ती है उसे क्लियर करा दें।
जो छात्र दौड़ करके आर्मी में जा रहा है और उसको कहा जाता है कि आपको 4 साल का संविदा पर रखा जाएगा, जिसके भविष्य की सुरक्षा का खुद पता नहीं है, वह देश की सुरक्षा कर पाएगा।
सरकार ने दिखा दिया अपना औकात कि आज हम युवाओं के साथ क्या गलत किए हैं।
रोड पाने में
ये नहीं चलेगी। अब जब तक अब डीटीओ नहीं वापस लेगी तब तक धरना हम लोग चालू रखेंगे।
17 वर्ष के 18 वर्ष की उम्र में अगर उनको नौकरी हो जाती है, 22 में वो रिटायर हो जाते हैं, 22 साल की उम्र के बाद बाकी जिंदगी वो कैसे खाएंगे, कैसे अपने परिवार का पालन पोषण करेंगे।
And I want to bring in Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain. He's one of the most prominent and respected voices on the Indian Army, the Indian military. He's been a commentator for many years. He's served in forward areas and he knows exactly what it means to try and reform the army, because he knows that the goals of Agnipath are noble goals, but the fact that there has been such a fiery backlash, General, and welcome to you, sir, means that there are concerns. There perhaps is a need to smoothen things out. I'd like you to start by telling me, are there some tweaks that are necessary to Agnipath to make it go down a little easier, sir? Because I don't think anybody can argue that the end game, the goals, the intentions of Agnipath are very noble and cannot be compromised.
Thank you, Shiv. Thank you for having me on your program. And I start by expressing very deep regret for what is happening on the streets at the moment. This is a result of misinformation, and misinformation coming from where I really can't say. But obviously, something which is changing after 75 years, that is almost 3-4 generations have gone past with this kind of recruiting scheme that we have always had. And suddenly, change comes. Obviously, there will be a lot of consternation. There will be a lot of questioning. There's an information load which is taking place at the moment. The kind of questions that were being put just now and the answers which I was seeing on your program just now is very clear that people are angry. They really are not looking at this with any sense of rationale at all. That is the unfortunate thing. The scheme, as you very correctly said, has got very noble end goals. But it's a question of making people understand it. It's a question of getting the right information into their minds. I think what is really troubling them is the future after 4 years. And bang, after 24 hours, we heard the Honorable Home Minister announcing that the CAPFs will have reserved vacancies for them. We heard the Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana speaking on this. And I'm sure lots and lots of many other political leaders and senior bureaucrats will look into this and speak about it. I would only suggest one thing, Shiv. Perhaps the one way of building confidence about the scheme is that the assurance on jobs post 4 years, some form of legislation could be brought about. Perhaps the believability, the credibility will go very high. No one is doubting the government of India, but what happens is people clearly who are very angry are looking for something to hold on to. I think legislation at this angle, at this time, perhaps, may assuage a lot of feelings.
Very interesting that you're talking about legislation. I want to draw you to a couple of specifics also, General Hasnain. Concerns that the amount of training time as a part of Agnipath, will not prepare soldiers. But you've actually spoken out and said that you've had people with less training than that doing the real tasks on the line of control. The second is, about 4 years. You believe that maybe this 4 years period should be increased just a little bit, maybe 5 or 6 years. Is that part of, what you're thinking about as a possible prescription, sir?
Shiv, very early to say, because these are all things which have been well considered at this stage, no doubt. But my thought process is that in my experience on the line of control, in the LAC and places like that, I've had soldiers with normal training. Yes, the training is 36 weeks at the moment. But I said 24 weeks, and you give me a soldier and I put him on the job with senior soldiers, with NCOs, with officers, 12 weeks more is no problem at all. So I think soldiers with 24 weeks of training are good, even under operational conditions, and actually are contributing tremendously and learning on the job all the time. Besides that, it's an interesting aspect that technical training, particularly for arms like the artillery and the Corps of Signals, etc., you may require some additional training for them. So that could be reconsidered, perhaps reviewed to some extent. And as far as the overall tour of duty is concerned, it's a question of how you exploit you get the bang from the buck. I personally feel 4 years down, the realization may come that we have given a lot to the soldier, but not taken enough from him in 4 years. And possibly 5 to 6 years may be a more optimum time to look at. This will automatically happen because I know a progressive review of a scheme like this is a natural thing that the Indian Armed Forces would always do.
Do you think there will, a lot was made with the announcement, General Hasnain. My final question to you, do you think that the possibility of making changes even after the rollout is built into Agnipath, the possibility that course corrections of the kind that you're talking about and perhaps some others will be possible so, legitimate concerns can be addressed?
See, Shiv, nothing is cast in concrete when it comes to HR management particularly. This is all related to HR management actually, and nothing is cast in concrete. We will start getting experience the day you get the first batch coming to us. And I'm sure there will be a system of review. Some important regular cell will be opened up in the Adjutant General's branch, which will absorb all this. There will have to be a very good SOP to ensure that there is total credibility in the selection system for the 25% people who will be selected at the end of the 4-year period. These are some of the things which will have to be gone into, and I do envisage that there will be course corrections all along, because no human minds can be perfect. We can come to all kinds of solutions, put our head together, but I'm sure ultimately it's the practical application on ground which will give us the best lessons.
General Atta Hasnain, always a pleasure, sir. Measured voice with specific, prescriptive words on how this must go forward. And it's always valuable to speak to someone like you because you've been in the many positions that are directly affected by a scheme very much like Agnipath. So we very much value that. I hope many of the young persons out there, concerned about facts and perhaps recipients of misinformation are listening to people like General Atta Hasnain on this extremely sensitive and extremely important issue. Thank you very much, General. Also joining us now on a day when there has been this backlash against Agnipath and at a time when the government is attempting to firefight this, controversy with facts, trying to bust the myths. We also are very privileged to be joined by Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhadoria. He's a former Chief of the Air Staff. Air Chief Bhadoria, great to see you, sir. Thank you for your time and welcome to our program here on India Today. I'd like to start by asking you, Air Chief, the backlash that we are seeing on the streets of many places is one thing, but how would you describe it, sir? If you were talking to the young people of India right now who may be misinformed about certain things, what would you say to them? I'd like to start with that, sir.
Yeah, very clearly, there is a lot of lack of understanding of the new scheme and a lot of misinformation. Just this one factor that it is not a permanent job from the start is kind of, straying the youngsters on some different understanding of the thing. It must be clearly understood that the starting point of this for the 4 years when Agniveer is joined, you look at the terms and conditions. Those must be understood by the aspirants. The terms and conditions are way better. Thereafter, the entire rationale of this bringing in, like you covered, we've gone past this for decades for this kind of recruitment system. We have to look at the future and look at how we are going to train the future generations and how we are going to manage the defense and the security aspects. And this is going to happen. So for the aspirants, it is very important to understand the terms and conditions. Don't get misled, don't go by misinformation, don't get swayed by some arguments being made by people who have themselves not understood the scheme really. They must realize the defense services which they are aspiring to join, they have vetted this and worked on it for a year and a half plus and gone through each of these aspects. Some of these issues or concerns being raised, they were all on the table, all discussed, all sorted out in terms of what will be addressed, and thereafter the scheme was finalized. So the understanding of the scheme is very important, and that will put to rest most of their concerns.
Air Chief, one of the things that critics of Agnipath, have been voicing, and I think it is some of those voices that have fueled and triggered the kind of protests we're seeing today, is that, you've addressed one side of it, which is, job security and future prospects. The other is about national security. There are many veterans who have publicly said that you are toying with national security. This will hamper national security, and, and the military is not a place to experiment with such things. How would you respond to that, sir? Is this a national security threat?
Again, they must have faith in the people who are currently serving and the leadership who have gone through these aspects. It's not that the people who are involved in working out this and finalizing the scheme are not aware of these things. So while sitting outside, some of the workup that has happened, the discussions, the debates, everything that we have gone through over the last nearly 2 years, they are not privy to those. So some of the concerns actually arise out of lack of the entire process and lack of rationale and details. And these 2-3 small issues tend to flare up the feelings towards anti-scheme feeling. So to the veterans, I would only say that again there is a need to look at terms and conditions. There is a need to understand it clearly.
Yes.
And thereafter articulate the pluses. There are a huge number of pluses. Yes, there are these concerns, 2-3 concerns that any young aspirant will have if the scheme changes from a permanent upfront job to initially 4 years. But to them, I want to tell them, if you are so made up in your mind that you must join the defense service, it is in you, work towards it. You will become permanent after 4 years.
Yeah.
Why this doubt that you will not become permanent? But it gives you more options. You will have options at the end of 4 years. You will have a kitty of nearly 12 lakhs to work out. If you want to go into another career, if you want to start your own business, whatever field you choose. And of course, if you are mind is towards joining the defense services and carrying on, 25% is there. Numbers is again a confusion. This 25% is the requirement, 25% of the Agniveers that are selected. Yes. The initial lot is around 46,000 that we are starting with. This number itself will go up. So the number of Agniveers that will get into the defense services will continue to rise. So numbers is not an issue.
Yeah.
Substantial percentage is there for them to aspire to become permanent, and that is the way to work towards it. It is wrong for people without full understanding and the background to fuel this skepticism of the scheme and for the youngsters to get swayed. It is highly distressing to see youngsters into this kind of protests. And if you're going to join the defense services, this is the last thing they should be doing. The scheme is going to cut in within 90 days. There will be selection. It is time they start working on that. So that is the clear understanding that must be given to the youngsters to start working towards this new entry scheme. And everything else will fall into place. You will find in times to come that it will have its serious pluses. It's a hugely transformative process that will take place.
Chief, one final question, sir, and you've addressed this, but I just wanted to get it from you, because there are certain politicians who have decided to criticize it openly. Some politicians have announced dharnas in different parts of the country, including in Uttar Pradesh, over the Agnipath scheme. There is, it looks like an attempt is being made to project the fact that this is a reform that has been pushed through without adequate consultation. Are you denying that that is the case at all, sir? That this was adequately consulted with all stakeholders and only then rolled out?
Of course, like I said, it was nearly a 2-year process. There has been a lot of consultation, all three services. We have gone through a lot of debates and discussions, various options. There was a 3 years plus 5 years option. There was a 7-year option. Finally, after looking at all the pros and cons, and that is really going into the depth and into many of the concerns that are being kind of talked about, it is because of those that many of these final decisions were taken. The 4-year period was chosen very carefully. Idea being that there is enough time. A youngster is coming out at 22 years, 23 years with 12 lakhs. Either he gets into permanent or he has the entire field open for him and age on his side. There is a difference between a person retiring at 38 years and looking for a second career and at 23 years. So there are so many pluses. Plus, you look at the world over. In terms of security aspects, in terms of defense, in fact, our schemes will be much better than what is happening around the world in any case. And with this new scheme, next 2 to 3 decades, we are going to be with this kind of scheme. Any changes, minor course correction that will take place will happen, of course, as we go down. but this is the scheme and the way of things to come, and it must be clearly understood. We shouldn't get into get swayed by unfounded concerns or lack of understanding. There's a lot of misunderstanding, and people should avoid skepticism at this stage.
Just one final point that I'm going to request you to make, Air Chief, which is that, the protests that we saw, these young people indulging in the violence, you just said that's the last thing that they should be indulging in if they are defense aspirants. I want you to switch to Hindi for just a moment, sir, because, these are all states which are Hindi speaking. All of these youths are Hindi speaking youth. So I want you to address them in Hindi for a moment. We will share what you say with as many of these youngsters as possible. So for the next 30-40 seconds, I want you to pretend like you are speaking to these defense aspirants, these young Indians, sir. Speak in Hindi, speak your heart, and tell them what you think they need to hear.
अच्छा, ये सब लोग जो इस स्कीम के ऊपर प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, एंड ये सब एस्पिरेंट्स हैं जो अग्निवीर या डिफेंस सर्विसेज में आना चाहते हैं, उनको मैं क्लियरली बताना चाहता हूं कि आपको सबसे पहले इस स्कीम को पूरी तरह से समझना चाहिए. आप गुमराह नहीं होए जो 2-3 बातें सुन के कि ये स्कीम ख़राब है या इसमें ये प्रॉब्लम है, एंड आप अपने ये सब आपने जो कदम उठाए हैं, आगजनी और दंगा फसाद, ये चीज़ें तो बिल्कुल आपको पढ़ना ही नहीं चाहिए. इस तरह के प्रोटेस्ट तो बिल्कुल हमारे अगेंस्ट हैं कि अगर आप देश की सेवा करना चाहते हैं तो इन चीज़ों में बिल्कुल मत पड़िए. आपको कूलली बैठना चाहिए, इस स्कीम के सारे टर्म्स कंडीशन देखो और बेसिक चीज़ समझो कि ये इनिशियल स्कीम एज अग्निवीर 4 साल की है. इसकी टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस इन टर्म्स ऑफ पे, इन टर्म्स ऑफ दूसरी कंडीशन सिमिलर है, पे ज़्यादा है. 4 साल में आपके पास एक नियरली 12 लाख का आपके पास एक किट्टी होगा. अगर आप परमानेंट नहीं होते हैं तो इससे आप अपना कुछ भी सेट कर सकते हैं, और सरकार ने बहुत प्रावधान किए हैं जिसमें आप दूसरे CAPF में जा पाएंगे. होम मिनिस्टर ने ऑलरेडी ये क्लैरिफाई किया है. सम चीफ मिनिस्टर्स ने ऑलरेडी बोला है कि वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स में जॉब का प्रावधान करेंगे. और आप देखेंगे ये गवर्नमेंट की स्कीम है, ये एक बहुत बड़ा कदम है. आप इसमें आराम से अपनी प्रिपरेशन शुरू करिए, इस स्कीम की एंट्री के लिए अपनी तैयारी करिए, इन सब प्रोटेस्ट से निकलिए और उस पर कंसंट्रेट करिए, तभी आप डिफेंस सर्विसेज में आ पाएंगे. एंड उसके बाद ये जब 4 साल आप इसमें रहेंगे, आप खुद देखेंगे कि 4 साल के बाद आपके एवेन्यूज़ पूरा, हम डिफेंस सर्विसेज बहुत सपोर्ट करते हैं, आप हमारे पार्ट होंगे डिफेंस सर्विसेज के, एंड आपको पूरी सपोर्ट दी जाएगी फ्रॉम डिफेंस सर्विसेज एंड दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट्स जो आपको दूसरे जॉब्स देने के लिए तैयार रहेंगे. अभी कल ही मैं एक पैनल पे कुछ इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट से बात कर रहा था. इंडस्ट्री में लोग देख रहे हैं कि जो अग्निवीर बाहर आएंगे उनको वो लेने को तैयार हैं. अभी से आप देखिए बड़े बड़े इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट की कुछ स्टेटमेंट्स हैं. तो आप बिल्कुल गुमराह नहीं होइए, और ये समय है अपनी तैयारी करने का, समय कम है. एंड अग्निवीर का जब सिलेक्शन आए तो आप अगर डिफेंस सर्विस में ज्वाइन करने के इच्छुक हैं तो उसकी तैयारी करके अपने पूरे दम से उसमें पार्ट लीजिए, और इस सब प्रोटेस्ट और ये गुमराह होने से बिल्कुल बचिए और निकलिए.
Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhadoria, always a pleasure, voice of wisdom, voice of reason. We'll make sure your voice reaches each and every one of those youths, sir, because they are young Indians and they may have been led astray, and we will reach your voice to them. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a privilege speaking to you. Thank you for your time here on India Today. Very quick break. On the other side, as promised, India Today Impact, and we mean business. On the back of India Today's breaking silence on the Ketaki Chittale arrest story in Maharashtra, the National Commission for Women has been forced to take cognizance of the story, and it has summoned the Director General of Police of Maharashtra to appear before it and explain why this actor has been in jail languishing for the last over 30 days for a Facebook post against Sharad Pawar. That big impact story is next.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. You India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% pure prime time. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
You are watching India Today.
We've got a big India Today impact story for you. 2 days after, here on 5 Live, we broke the national media silence on Marathi actor Ketaki Chittale languishing in jail for over 30 days now for a social media post attacking Sharad Pawar. Now the National Commission for Women has summoned the Maharashtra Director General of Police over the arrest of Ketaki Chittale. She's been in jail now for 32 days continuously for sharing a Facebook post that was derogatory and insulting to NCP Chief Sharad Pawar. Ketaki has got bail from a court in Thane. She will, however, remain in jail as she has several other cases against her. Chittale faces 22 FIRs and 4 non-cognizable offences registered against her across Maharashtra. She's been accused of defamation, printing or engraving defamatory matter, and promoting enmity between two groups on the basis of religion and caste. Arrested by the Thane police on May the 14th, Ketaki Chittale has also filed a petition in the Bombay High Court challenging her arrest. The court will hear her case next week. The National Commission for Women has stepped in. Ketaki Chittale has been jailed now for 32 days for a social media post where she quoted another advocate insulting Sharad Pawar. Let's go straight. I want pictures of Ketaki Chittale now on our screen fully. And I want to go across to India Today's Mustafa Sheikh, who's with us live. Mustafa, Director General of Police of Mumbai, summoned by the National Commission for Women on the back of India Today's reporting on the story of Ketaki Chittale. She continues to be in jail. It's 32 days now.
Well, yes, of course, Shiv, she has got respite from one of the cases, which is in Navi Mumbai area, which was an offence which was registered in 2020. In that, she has got bail. The main offence in which she was arrested after posting on social media, on that offence, she's yet to secure a bail and come out of jail. It's been 32 days. So, repeatedly there were cases for the same offence. There were repeated FIRs which were done against her. And after she was arrested in the social media post case, she was taken custody of in a 2020 case of a Atrocities Act case. So this is something which her lawyers are saying is misuse of powers, and there are some people who are also saying that Sharad Pawar's post was mentioned by her on social media, but it doesn't look like Sharad Pawar as a personality would take revenge on a young person like this. But people are near to him, and the politicians near to him are some people who are pressurizing the police to take such action, and it looks like this is something which the higher courts have also now taken cognizance of. They are also asking whether in one offence multiple FIRs can be registered. Back to you.
Okay, stay with me, Mustafa. Yogesh Deshpande, who is the advocate for Ketaki Chitale, is with me on the phone line. Mr. Deshpande, 32 days your client has been inside jail. She's got bail respite in some earlier cases, but the case pertaining to the Facebook post, she has not got any relief so far. The High Court has already taken a view on this situation, but the National Commission for Women has also stepped in now. Your reaction, sir?
Yes, we have already approached to and made complaint with the National Women's Commission, as well as we met Governor of Maharashtra for the same, for the intervention and CBI inquiry in this matter, because on a single post, they have made 22 FIRs, which is not maintainable. And also, while taking her custody, NCP group of NCP workers betrayed her, physically assaulted her.
Yeah.
Until FIR is not registered on the same ground.
What
do
you think there is political pressure to keep Ketaki in jail because Sharad Pawar is part of the ruling dispensation in Maharashtra? It seems a little silly to believe that he does not know anything about this.
It is impossible because Mr. Sharad Pawar knows everything. We can understand that he knows everything, what is going on in Maharashtra. Remotely, he is also controlling everything. So, this can be said that Sharad Pawar don't know what is happening in the Maharashtra. 22 FIRs are there for a single post. And his workers, party workers are beating that lady, assaulting that lady, abusing that lady. And Sharad Pawar don't know anything what is happening in the state.
When are you hoping for some kind of relief? Now the National Commission for Women has stepped in. India Today has also been reporting relentlessly on this story for the last 1 week. The National Commission for Women has stepped in. Do you believe that there will be some kind of pressure, some kind of relief coming your way for your client?
Certainly. We can say so now. Because up to yet we haven't got any relief. But today itself we got bail in the atrocity matter. And another matter is issued for 21st June. And also we have approached the High Court for the quashing of all the FIRs. And also we have prayed to the Governor of Maharashtra for CBI intervention in this case.
Yeah. Yogesh, you've met Ketaki Chitale, since she was arrested on May the 14th. What is her condition? What is her mental state? We understand she also suffers from certain health conditions. How is she doing in jail? 32 days is quite a long time.
Yes, certainly. Now she is stable, but as everybody knows that she is an epileptic patient. So 2 or 3 times she got seizure attacks also in the jail only. And we are hoping for the relief as earlier.
Yogesh Deshpande, advocate for Ketaki Chitale, speaking first in exclusive to India Today on some relief for Ketaki Chitale in terms of bail for an earlier case, but the multiple FIRs that were aggressively piled onto her for a Facebook post attacking Sharad Pawar, no relief on that yet. Let's see if the National Commission for Women that has just woken up belatedly will force any kind of action from the Maharashtra police. Of course, the free speech crusaders deafeningly silent as always. We will continue to expose their hypocrisy here on India Today. Have to update you on the story that all viewers have been expecting, the big updates from here on India Today. From India Today has accessed brand new details of the Sidhu Moosewala murder plot. We're reporting this both from Delhi as well as in Punjab, where Lawrence Bishnoi's interrogation is on for the third day running. It was the singer's song, it was Moosewala's song, Bambiha Bole, that apparently triggered Lawrence Bishnoi and his gang to kill Moosewala. Bishnoi felt that this was an open dare by the singer. We're not even making this up. So how did they plan to kill Moosewala? Arvind Ojha with this India Today super exclusive.
Nearly a month since singer Sidhu Moosewala's killing, murky details of the murderous plot are emerging. It has now been revealed that the plot to kill Moosewala was hatched not just across states, but across countries. Gangster Lawrence Bishnoi, named as the murder mastermind, had actually started plotting the singer's killing way back in 2021. Bishnoi had enlisted his brother Anmol and nephew Sachin for the hit job. Lawrence Bishnoi flew his brother Anmol out of India as part of the Kill Moosewala plot. He was sent to Europe so he could evade security agencies. From Europe, Anmol got in touch with Bishnoi's partner in crime and another dreaded gangster, Goldie Brar, in Canada. That's how the conspiracy to kill Moosewala was hatched. The final signal for the singer's murder was given via a video call. After conducting a recce of Moosewala's house on 29th May, gangster Kekra accompanied Nikku Takhatmal on his motorcycle. They were present at Sidhu Moosewala's house when he came out of the gate. Nikku and Kekra took a selfie with Sidhu Moosewala on Nikku's mobile phone, who further made a video call to Sachin Thapan and informed him that the singer had left his house without security and that he was in the driver's seat of the black Thar. Not just that, the plan to eliminate Moosewala was hatched immediately after Bishnoi aide Vicky Middukhera's death. Lawrence Bishnoi has told the investigators that the motive to kill Moosewala was clear. Not only did he belong to a rival gang, but Bishnoi claims that Moosewala would provoke and challenge his gang with songs about women. With Arvind Ojha in Mohali, Bureau Report, India Today.
As the Congress escalated its protests for the Rahul Bachao Andolan nationwide, Renuka Chaudhary has stolen the limelight, lit up the TV screens by catching the collar of a policeman. Shameful scene that may have just given the Congress a really bad day amidst protests for Rahul Gandhi. Pooja gets Renuka live on the other side.
India Today Group wins big at NT Awards 2022. Bags 5 coveted awards in digital categories. Mobile application by a news channel, Aaj Tak. Most popular social media TV news brand, Aaj Tak. News channel website, India Today. Social contribution by a news network, India Today. strongest digital footprint of a news network. Aaj Tak, India Today Group